What's up, everyone? My name's Canoe, and I have a question. What in the digital art hell is ArtFight? I'm asking this because for the past few days, I've been constantly getting assaulted by YouTube recommendations for various art channels that keep mentioning this thing called ArtFight. I have no idea what it is, and assumed it was a random art thing from TikTok or something. I don't know a lot of things on the internet, okay? After I want to say like the 5th video I was recommended, I snapped and tossed my computer out the window, but not before looking up what it was. And let me tell you, I'm very interested right now. I still haven't watched any of the art videos I was recommended, mainly because I wanted to experience what I expect to be the best moment of my life firsthand, and make content out of it, obviously. Why else would why would you, what are you talking about? What I hope to do in this video is basically provide what essentially equates to a real-time experience in discovering what ArtFight is and what it's about. You'll literally learn with me until one or either of us knows what the fuck is going on and has a much stronger grasp on what ArtFight is by the end of the video, hopefully. So I guess you could say that this is my first ever introduction to ArtFight, I guess. Yay. Someone give me a medal now. Now, first things first, I realize that if there's any place to go for accurate information regarding ArtFight, it's probably going to be Twitter. I'm lying to you, that place is a cesspool. No, instead we're going to skip our merry way over to the ArtFight website with the goal of taking our first steps to understanding. Cue the upbeat hero music now.
The best time to wear a striped sweater is all the time.
Okay, this is the landing page. This is the first thing you see when you enter the website before you even register. In the middle of the page, in large white letters, we're first welcomed with exclamatory text stating, "Welcome to ArtFight, the annual art trading game starting on July 1st. This gives us our first real insight into what the game is about. In a general sense, we can assume that ArtFight is a community-driven game or event that occurs every year on the 1st of July, meaning that the next event is actually fast approaching. As of the time of this recording, there are 47 days remaining until the official beginning of the ArtFight event. So mark your calendars, write it on your forehead, I guess, or just write it on someone else's forehead, I don't know. Just keep it in the back of your mind. Additionally, we can assume that the art trading aspect probably refers to a system where the goal of the game is for users or artists to draw other users or artists' works via an exchange process that is set up such that you can receive or maybe even lose points. But what more is there to know about this game? Well, let's first continue with our tour of the website in the meantime. As we can see, it has a pretty basic menu bar, starting with the website logo, a link to their Discord where I assume you can connect with other ArtFight users, a help section which contains other tabs such as the about section, website rules, and more general information. If you want to check more of it out yourself, I'll leave a link to the website in the description, although I'm not sure why I would do that. It's artfight.com, that's the name. It's easy to remember and type in, but I'll put it in the description anyway, that's fine. Continuing onward, next to the help section, they have a shop button where you can support the website by purchasing things like merch or additional accessories. They also have an optional contribution section. It's not super in your face, which is nice. They don't try to guilt trip you into giving any money, you know. If you can support the site, I'm sure they would appreciate it though. Now, I realized this only after making an account, but there's like 2 other tabs that show up only when you log in. So like in order to access these additional tabs that might be hidden, you do need to have an account registered. I went ahead and registered to create an account already, just so I could have that step done. But if you're not super interested in registering and you're just curious about what the website's like, you don't need to make an account. It's not like a prerequisite for just viewing the site. But now that that's done, there's this interesting tab called Browse that shows up once you're logged in, which again, you can only see if you have an account. Just a reminder, this tab allows you to search or browse by members, attacks, characters, or tags. It even allows you to do like a randomized search of a character or user on the site. Yes, I know, attacks. I'm sure you're wondering, like, oh wow, what does that mean? Calm your sleep-deprived self down. Okay, I'll get back to this in a minute. Next is the Submit tab, which allows you to create a character for your profile that you can then customize by uploading images of your artwork, or adding extra information you would like others to see and know about your character. To the right of that is a tab simply titled Current Event, though it seems that this tab is simply a placeholder as there is no necessary information shown on the page itself at this time. Lastly, you have your avatar logo. Mine is horrifically bare at the moment and just has the default Mystery Man as the icon. I'll change it later though. I don't want anyone commenting, being like, oh, wow, you're just, where's your thing? Where's your PFP? Why don't you add? I'm getting to it. Now, once you click on the drop-down menu, it shows tabs to things pertaining to your account, including your profile page, your settings, characters, messages, notifications, etc., and some other relevant tabs as well. We are then presented with a medium-sized banner located near the center of the page that proudly displays what appears to be either sprites or awards from previous events. I'm not sure what those are. They look like they date back to as early as 2015, as I can tell here. After that, we have a section called Recent Characters, showing us a small gallery of other users' drawings and designs that were recently posted or submitted. This essentially means that every time you refresh the page or return back to the menu from another section, the assortment of images will be different each time. So if you see a design that you really like and would maybe be interested in following the user, I would recommend doing so as soon as possible, or you may just lose track of it. Of course, I'm pretty sure you're only able to save or bookmark characters or users if you yourself have an account, I believe. To the right of that is yet another section titled News, where most likely the devs or owners of the site will be posting any relevant up-to-date information on the status of the website itself. And below that, we have the Featured Members section. I still don't fully know what criteria is used to determine who is listed on the Featured Members page. I had to do a really quick search, and the best answer I can give is that these are listings of users who have contributed the most to the site in some way. If you've been paying attention, which you should be, I'm looking at you by the way, Dennis. I really hope there's a Dennis that's watching this video, that'd be epic. You'll notice this thin bar below the sprites containing like 5 blue buttons. They're How It Works, Site Rules, Attack Guide, Filters Guide, and Frequently Asked Questions. For the sake of time, and because I'm basically just skimming here, like I'm not about to do a deep dive into the website or anything, I'll only include what I think is important for understanding more of the format of the event.
The best time to wear a striped sweater is all the time.
The How It Works page is a simple introduction to what the game actually is. It tells you the format of the event as well as the dynamic between users. I truly appreciate how much work they obviously put into making things as clear and easy to understand as possible, because this would honestly be pretty overwhelming for anyone. Not me though, I'm simply built different. Now, the following is the official text from the website page. What is Artfight? Artfight is an annual art game that lasts for 1 month, beginning every July. During the event, users can register on the site to join in. Each year, participants are split into 2 themed teams to which they are assigned randomly. Players attack people of the opposing team by making art of original characters you choose belonging to members of the other team. You are free to use almost any visual art form. Your team receives points based on what you create for the other team with each attack. The artist that receives the attack can then counter that attack by drawing the character belonging to the person who attacked them, or pay it forward by attacking a different person on the other team. At the end of the month, the team with the greater score wins, but remember, while there are point scores, the real goal is to celebrate characters with your fellow artists. Artfight is about giving and receiving amazing art. I only realized this after reading a second time, but there's an important additional information section just below the How It Works page that breaks down the game even further. Attacks are synonymous with art. An attack is an artwork created for someone on Artfight. If those terms confuse you, just replace the word attacks with art. That makes sense. Okay. I mean, every time I do art anyway, I feel under attack, but by myself, so... Defenses on people's profiles are attacks that the person received. Extra points can be gained by voting on other people's attacks anonymously, which means the more effort you put into your attacks, the more likely you'll get more points. Okay, thank God. I'll be submitting like the best stick figures you guys have ever seen in your lives. Battle ratio is the amount of art received versus given. People with a higher battle ratio are more likely to be a target to the other team, as they are a bigger threat. I think you can actually see this on people's profiles if they have it available, and if they've competed before. They'll have like a bar with a percentage on it, I think. If you click that little question mark beside the battle ratio category, it basically tells you that the higher the percentage over 50, the more attacks they've done. The lower the percentage, the more defenses they've done.
The best time to wear a striped sweater is all the time.
Skipping over to the General Rules and Safety section, which you can find by clicking on the second blue button on that bar located in the center of the homepage, it lays out the basic do's and don'ts if you're an Artfight user or participant. To be honest, there's a lot of rules here, which means a lot of reading, and I don't like to read, so I'm only going to mention the top most relevant rules and pray that you're willing to read the rest on your own time. Alright, number 1, you must be 13 of age or older to register for and use Artfight. Number 2, only one active account is allowed per person. Joining teams on multiple accounts during the event is prohibited. Okay, so I can't do like the equivalent of a shadow clone attack, I guess. Cool. Damn it. Number 3, do not attempt to impersonate any site members, especially staff. What if I wear a really convincing mustache, though? How would you know? How would you know? Number 4, Artfight aims to be a safe place for all users. Hateful or discriminatory content and behavior is prohibited site-wide and will be removed. This includes, but is not limited to, transphobic and homophobic views, racist and xenophobic views, ableist views, sexist views, use of slurs. Okay, these are all 100% reasonable. I'm not mad at any of this. Number 5, sexually explicit content in any form is prohibited. I mean, this makes sense too. Like, if 13-year-olds are able to compete in this event, you shouldn't have 18 and above content. That's not how numbers work. 18 is more than 13. I learned that yesterday. Number 6, this next one is mentioned further down the line, and it's kind of obvious anyway, but no AI art is allowed to compete in this event. There shouldn't be any need to say this, but just in case. Also, I'm sure this applies to partial AI usage as well. If you draw something and use AI to enhance it, even though it's based off your own art, it's probably still considered AI in this context. Now, the attack guide, which is the next section up, sounds badass, and I'm pretty sure I'll come out of black belt in karate for some reason, but looking at this page, it's pretty much an explanation of how art attacks are rated. 2 quick notes, by the way. By participating in Artfight, you essentially acknowledge that attack ratings may be changed if found incorrect, meaning that if there's an error, say in your rating, you can either be given more points or less points than the initial ones you first received. Secondly, you do retain the freedom to appeal ratings if you consider them unjust. I'm willing to bet that there's a few people who will appeal literally every time in the hopes that they just get a couple more points. Don't be that person, please, you don't need to do that. Remember that this is meant to be just like a casual, fun game setting between artists. Taking this too seriously can actually keep you from having that fun.
The best time to wear a striped sweater is all the time.
The attack guide page lists 5 categories that are taken into consideration when rating an attack. Those are the size, or how much of the character is actually visible in the attack. They do provide a diagram that serves as a fairly straightforward illustration of the size category. Simply put, the more of the character you show, the more points you get. Including the entire body is going to earn you the most points, while zooming in on like a few features will earn you the least. The drawn and or painted section refers to what's considered when looking at an illustration either done traditionally or digitally. I'm willing to bet most people are going to be digital artists in this competition, so this category will matter a lot. Essentially, they rank the amount of points by how far through the art process you've gotten. A rough sketch, for example, would earn you the least amount of points, then line work, then color, then shading. They do get a bit more specific with each of these. For example, they treat rough coloring, which is perhaps where the colors bleed out of the line work or where the illustration is only partially colored, differently from clean coloring, which ensures proper colors filled, full completion, and is color matched with the character you're referencing. They also break down shading into unshaded, minimal shading, and fully shaded. For the background, there are 4 distinct types. Minimal or no background. This is perhaps like a solid color or really simple brushstrokes in the back. Pattern or abstract designs, often referring to a series of like repeated visual elements without much complexity. They do have categories for 3D art as well as what's referred to as crafts. These are probably less common, so I'll just give a really brief rundown for each. 3D submissions are determined by analyzing the 3D base, texture, rigging, and backgrounds. Personally, I'm not a 3D artist, so I'm not going to have to adhere to any of these standards, but I imagine they're very helpful for people who are 3D artists or who are trying to improve in the realm of 3D. The crafts section is broken down into the type of craft you're talking about. In this case, it would be more like a medium. Do you work with clay? Do you work with textiles? Do you vomit into a bowl and spill it onto your kitchen floor? I don't know, whatever it is, as long as it's closer to the previous 2 categories, it'll be considered here. Crafts are also ruled by the backgrounds as well. It's very similar to the digital painting section. You either have none, an abstract or pattern background, props, or a full scene. When I was looking at the pictures they show for the examples for each of these, because they will include shots of submitted works that apply to what they're referring to, I was kind of thrown off by this one in crafts because, look, there's 2 clay figures done here, right? They look like their backgrounds are essentially the same, and I'm pretty sure they were done by the same person, but one is considered part of the none category, while the other is abstract, but they look essentially the same to me. I don't know. Maybe that's why I shouldn't judge on any of these. If I had my way, everyone would win, meaning that no one would win. The last category is actually one I didn't know could be submitted in a game like this, but they include animation as a possible submission option. For animation, they look at how much movement there is, so having a simple blinking animation on the character is going to be graded less than a character who, say, is like drinking coffee on the loop, which would then be graded less than a character who is fully animated in a shot and expressive. The next is technique. This just refers to the standardized process that was used to create the animation. They provide a few types here that are most common, those being 3D animation, tweening, stop motion, and frame by frame, to name a few. It doesn't seem like using any one technique will give you more or less points, more like how effective you were able to use the technique will be considered more. They also provide a short list of definitions that just refer to concepts they'll be analyzing when determining a rating for a submission.
The best time to wear a striped sweater is all the time.
Alright, we're almost done here. The last section we need to read is the filters guide page. There's not a whole lot to talk about for this one, considering it's a fairly self-explanatory page. In some cases, art you submit, characters you have available in your profile, and the content of your writing may all require some kind of filtering. This filtering is really just a way to ensure that appropriate content is being shown on the website. It's not too complicated in most cases, and the majority of artists who I know online already engage in this practice on a matter of principle. But here we have a few categories of filters that should be considered when uploading your own art or characters. We have gore, which just refers to any sort of violence, harm, or physical trauma to the body. Nudity, any sort of unclothed figure or character. This probably doesn't apply to non-human characters. Like if you have a character who's a dog without a shirt or pants, you're probably fine. Eye strain, which refers to any images that can potentially cause visual strain. Often this is the case when extremely bright, saturated, or contrasting colors are used in a design. Body horror, referring to an unnatural addition or distortion of the body that is commonly unsettling. If you have a character with an eye on their elbow or something, that's a weird place to put an eye, that would probably fall into this category. Suggestive themes, anything drawn with adult or suggestive intent, such as pinups. Sensitive content. This is content that refers to things that may be disturbing in writing or imagery, but is not specifically in any other filter categories. Be aware, each of these categories have dedicated pages to them where the website lays out specific examples for each and helps you distinguish between content that is okay to show versus content that may need a filter.
The best time to wear a striped sweater is all the time.
And that's it. We've gone through the majority of the website. Artfight is interesting. It's not something I've heard of before, actually, and I'm a bit disappointed in myself that I haven't come across it. You know, it's fun, it's collaborative in a sense. It allows you to show your style alongside other talented people. Had I learned about what this was before, I would have definitely become an addict. I'd hit it once and then shake in a corner like a drug addict for a year waiting for the next one to come. It's also kind of cool because, if you've been part of this event for the past few years, there's a very real sense of accomplishment, I'd imagine. And looking back at what your art used to be like and seeing improvement every single year, it's like a time capsule in that sense. The question now is, do I want to participate? I think yes. I think the answer is yes. Being involved in something like this is freaking awesome. And it already has a big enough following that there are tons of other artists you can talk to about it if you're curious, so. Okay, this is me, but future me after recording. Thinking about it, I actually want to get things started and submit a character to my profile, just to have something there. I recorded a speed paint of a design already with the intention of using it for a separate video, but instead I just added it to the background of this video. So that speed paint that was going on for the entirety of this video, that's going on my art fight profile for now. And maybe I will do a video on this design, but for now I just needed something to fill visual space in this video, and also wanted to get a jump on integrating myself more into the art fight world, so to speak. I'll put a link to my profile down in the description, I guess, if you want to see it. I'm not really going to be checking my notifications for the website, so you don't have to follow me or anything. I'm not going to check, to be honest with you. That being said, that's all I have for now, really. I do hope you learned a little something about art fight. If not, that hurts my feelings. But you can lie to me in the comments if you want to make me feel better. I give you permission to help me not feel like shit. Thank you so much for watching, though. If you can, like the video, please, and I'll see you later. Ka-chow. That's a throwback to the first video. Don't know if you caught that. No? Okay, bye.